You can't keep getting away with this! You can't keep getting away with it!
They can't keep getting away with this. Israel can't keep getting away with what they're doing, with killing leaders, killing populations, for no real strategic benefit of the US, bear in mind, and the US are also obviously responsible for this. They can't keep getting away with this. Somebody has to be held responsible, and the rest of the world has to wake up to the atrocities and to the lack of responsibility and the lack of accountability and the lack of justice that has been served to these two respective countries.
No, it wasn't just Khamenei that's been taken out by Israel. In fact, if we can go back throughout history, and we will quickly, it was Saddam Hussein, it was Bashar al-Assad, it was Muammar Gaddafi, it was Mohamed Morsi, it was Nicolas Maduro, not added to this hit list of Israel deposing potential threats to their regime, is Ayatollah Khamenei. Now, none of these people were particularly nice people. None of these people were particularly great or benevolent people, people that we want in the world. But at the same time, fundamentally, they weren't taken away for any reason to do with their morals. There are plenty and countless regimes across the world that are just as evil, that stay in power. What got rid of these people was the fact that they were all fundamentally opposed to the Israeli project. They all, in one way or another, posed a threat to Israel. They all acted as blocks to Israel dominance over the Middle East. And they were gotten rid of precisely because of that. It was our tax dollars, it was our bodies of European people, it was the Arab and Iranian citizens on the ground that died, all because Israel needed them to go. And we gained absolutely nothing for it. Israel can't keep getting away with this because they have essentially broken the rule book. They are the one exception in the world. They are the one nation that gets to does this with impunity. And what makes it worse is the fact that they don't even do it themselves. They aren't capable of doing any of these operations themselves. They require their daddy, the US, who willingly obliges to the call to get rid of these people. The US-Israeli alliance is, in a way, one of the greatest evils. And I think that's been exposed specifically by the Epstein lists. Sure, these people on your screen right now were butchers, but it's not like the people getting rid of them were any better. I mean, the people getting rid of them are the same people that have sex with children, that have genocided some of their own populations. The pedo elite is the people who got rid of them. In a way, Iran was right to call them the Great Satan. Now, I don't want to come off as too much of a third worldist here. These regimes were outdated. But if they were to go, let their people topple them. Let their own country decide if they want these people to go. It's not Israel's choice to get rid of them. And it's not Israel's right to get rid of them.
Dear lovely viewer, you were sold the idea of these men being a threat to your livelihood. The fact that they existed could mean that you could have a terrorist attack on a random Sunday afternoon when you're walking out of church. It could mean that your children would grow up in a world where these men are an existential threat, a perpetual threat to their livelihood. But what has actually happened? Are these people's countries better off? Is Iraq better off without Saddam Hussein? Is Syria better off without Assad? Is Libya better off? Well, Libya is a clear example where they're not better off. But really, are you better off? Are you better off if you're in Europe or if you're in the States with the millions and millions of migrants that have crossed the shores? Because these men, whether you like them or not, maintain stability, or at least were hoping to maintain stability in their country. However, no. Israel felt threatened. Israel felt threatened. And so because Israel felt threatened, you had to pay for it. In a Westphalian system, right? In a system where each country or each state tries to maintain its power and maintain checks and balances on other states to make sure they don't get too powerful, we have some reason forgotten that Israel exists. We can check China's power. We can check Russia's power. But we can never check Israel's influence. For some reason. For some reason. What's even worse than this, and I think you want to add a point on this, Christian bro, is how far they're willing to go and who they're willing to throw under the bus next.
I mean, it's almost as if their appetite never abates. I mean, Turkey is by any means one of the more secular regimes. It's run by Erdogan, who is essentially kind of a geopolitical cockroach. He'll go where it benefits him and it benefits Turkey. Turkey, if out of anyone, poses the least threat to Israel. I mean, Turkey has worked with Israel in deposing Bashar al-Assad. But as it seems right now, I mean, if getting rid of Khamenei wasn't enough, well, it looks like Turkey, maybe they've got to go as well. They're a regional power broker in the Middle East. Because I think the thing people need to understand as well, it's Israel is not getting rid of these people specifically because they're strongly Muslim and have said things necessarily against Israel. It's also just broadly about them securing their position as the global hegemon in the Middle East. If you actually listen to what they have to say and their ambitions going forward, they want to enlarge the size of Israel. And they can't do that if there are big powers like Turkey and Iran within the region. So it wouldn't be surprising if there are more to go. If in 5 years' time Erdogan's the new villain, Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia is the new villain. Their hunger is never really going to be abated until every leader within that region is the same person, is a Zayokak, basically. Until everyone sips from the Jewish cup and is loyal to Israel, they will not be happy. And that even goes for regimes like Turkey that aren't particularly antithetical or have much venom towards Israel anyway. They're not going to give up going it. And yet they'll keep getting away with it because the USA has the military might to support these operations and the political will to do so. And this is despite as well the fact that hypocritically Israel itself is as equally despotic and genocidal as any of the governments they've tried to take out. I mean, there's no moralness to this. There's no morality to us getting rid of one leader in Iran in favor of Israel when look what they do to their own citizens. Look what they've done to the Palestinians.
What will history tell you though, guys? What will history tell you though, folks? It will tell you that Israel was protecting itself, that Israel has some benevolent cause to spread democracy. But if you look at history in Europe, there are certain countries in the 30s, there are certain countries in the early 20th century, and even before that, who, when they attempted to gain power and when they attempted to subjugate other states and other countries, they were, rightly so, we can argue, for maintaining the balance of power, punished. But why does Israel keep getting away with this? Why? I'm just putting the question out there. I'm not giving you the answer, but just consider for yourself, why? Is it because of some intrinsic value that they hold? Is their life worth more than these Palestinians lying on the ground dead in body parts? Ask yourself that question. Why? Right? And because they get to live like this. Meanwhile, not even 100 miles away, this is what a Palestinian has to live in. They get to live like this. At what cost? The countless countries they've destabilized, the countless countries they've left in ruin, and their healthcare gets to be one of the best in the world. Their citizens get to live in one of the safest countries, generally one of the safest countries when it comes to crime. The healthiest foods, one of the best imports, the prices, right? The cost of living not being incredibly high. But what do you get? Remember, these guys were a threat to you, right? These guys were a threat to you. They were a real threat to you. Is your life any better? Is your life any better than a glass hospital? I'm sorry, I found this really funny. It's just a glass hospital. Like, how would you feel threatened when your hospital, one of the most important infrastructures, is literally got so much glass in it? Is there anything you want to add to this as well, Christian, bro? I feel like I'm getting too mad here.
No, but it's worth getting mad over. I mean, think about it this way. Israel basically gets to live a life of luxury and benefit from these operations that we carry out. And what do we get in return? We get nothing from them, first of all. I mean, please, if anyone still supports Israel, please tell me, what is it they fundamentally give us in the West? What is their big import to us? What is their export to us? Nothing. All they do is take our weapons, and that's it. And at a subsidized cost, may I add as well. If don't for a second think that a missile sold to Israel gets paid for the same a missile sent to any other nation does. Heavily subsidized costs. And in return for all these wars, we have a declining health service because we can't spend the money on ourselves. I mean, don't even start in America where they don't even have state healthcare. I mean, if in America, where the idea of state healthcare seems expensive, well, it would surely be a lot easier if you didn't send $1 billion every year to Israel, would it? And again, for what? I mean, here in Europe, and this is my point as well, so I don't want to come off to prove that I'm not too much of a third worldist. What have we gained from the Israeli wars? Demographic replacement. We've seen millions of refugees and migrants come in under the pretext of these wars, of these destabilizing wars. And if you don't mind going back to the first slide, please, Muslim bro. I'll just quickly break down as well what happened from all these people going. We'll start with Gaddafi, probably the most important one. He went, and suddenly millions of Africans come through because Libya was blocking the pipeline coming in. Assad and Morsi, again, people that were against Israel. What happened when they went? People got killed within their countries because civil wars broke out. Christians, may I add as well, a lot of the time. Maduro. Yeah, maybe not as direct of a consequence as us in Europe, but things will play out. And again, no threat really to America. And he went because he was helping Iran. And what's likely going to come, and we have made a video on this as well, which you can check out, is Iran's is probably going to descend itself into civil war. And who will pick up the bill from this? Who will pick up the refugees from this? Us. So essentially, Israel can't keep getting away with it, not just on immoral reasons, but they can't keep getting away with this because they're ripping us off. We're the ones not benefiting from them, and they're the ones that get to enact whatever they want at our expense and at the expense of the region they are in.
And a last point on here as well, again, just so we're not seen as third world apologists or anything, I want to go back to the point is your life any better? And what has been the consequence of this? Because there's been like a huge domino effect, for example, with Iraq, with Saddam Hussein gone, who was supposedly going to be or was the military hegemon in the Middle East. You then had splinter groups split off, creating terrorist cells. These terrorist cells ended up perpetuating a lot of the civil wars or perpetuating the conflicts, which then garnered also for people to decide to leave, or for the EU and for these legal courts, the humanitarian courts, to go, these people are asylum seekers. And so all of a sudden, it's caused a huge loophole, if you will, in the legal system, where legally these people can come, legally they can live off your hard work, legally they can come, and of course, I believe they should have a better life, but they shouldn't have a better life at your expense, and they don't need a better life in Europe. I generally believe that if a lot of these people would be happy to go back home if they had the chance, right? A lot of them, let's say they were, generally leaving and seeking refuge from war. They'd go back home if they had the chance, but they can't. But guess where they never go to? Guess where they never step foot? Guess who has some of the strongest border controls? If you want to be a doctor and you want to help these people in a hospital, you have to go through so many checks. You're a doctor. You've got nothing. You're an American citizen, by the way, right? I have a friend he's got a family member who's in America who's a doctor, and he struggled so hard to get into Gaza, even though he's an American citizen, even though he's just a doctor. He's there for non-nefarious reasons. And they get to control who comes in and who goes out. But we have to accept the fact that, yep, all right, ECHR said this guy can come in. Yep, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll let these guys in. Why? Oh, it's just, we got to let them in. These poor guys, yeah, they're victims. I feel bad for them as much as I feel bad for the fact that we have to live with the consequence of them coming in here and the cultural conflict that it creates, the cultural dissonance, if you will. But it's a consequence of a tiny little country in the Middle East It gets to do what it does and keep getting away with it.
So just to synthesize, look, you can be happy in a way that Khamenei's gone. That regime might get replaced. In isolation, sure, fine. They are antithetical to the West. I get that. But really think why they did go. They didn't go at all on humanitarian reasons. They went because they were a threat to Israel. And that is fundamentally why we have to be far more critical of Israel on the right. Anyone that still supports them will have ulterior motives. Look, in all our candidates going forward, the ones that are the furthest away from Israel, they will be the ones that are truly out for us. Because as we've laid out, anyone that supports Israel does so at the expense of their own nation.
You can't be Britain first, you can't be America first, and also support Israel. You will have to give up everything that benefits you, benefit them. But anyway, thank you very, very much for watching. God bless you all. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of the day. Please feel free to subscribe to us, Base Bros. Me and Christian Bro would be really, really happy. It would make our day, and we'd love you so, so much. Obviously, that's incredibly gay, but generally, we would appreciate it. Leave your comments. Leave your thoughts. Let us know if you know whatever perspective you might have on this, or maybe you have a couple theories as to why they keep getting away with it. Just make sure you don't get us in trouble. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, share with whoever you think would benefit from seeing this. And again, take care of yourself. God bless you all, and we'll speak to you soon.